The X Zone Radio Show is heard on radio broadcast affiliates worldwide, including
AM 580 CFRA in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
WPUL AM 1590 in Daytona Beach, Florida.
KOHI AM 1610 in St. Helens, Oregon.
KHRO AM 1150 in El Paso, Texas. And for more information on becoming a professional broadcast affiliate of the X Zone Radio Show, visit
www.xzbn.net
or call toll-free worldwide
1-800-610-7035.
The X Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. 1-800-610-7035 is worldwide toll-free. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. We're going to be speaking to Monica Holy this hour. We're going to talk to her about being a fringe dweller. Well, she's more than a fringe dweller. That's the name of her book, Fringe Dweller on the Night Shift, True Stories from an Afterlife Paramedic. Bet you didn't know that there were afterlife paramedics, huh? Well, we're going to be speaking to Monica. And since birth, Monica has entered extraordinary worlds of consciousness through the portal of lucid dreams. Now, while there, she conducts souls to the other side and to the light, teaches, guides, and heals. She enters those non-ordinary realities not just to explore them, but to work on behalf of the human community. In Fringe Dweller on the Night Shift, published by Weezer Books in October of 2009, Monica recounts her psychic and spiritual work with the troubled dead, the newly dead, and those about to die, especially children, to provide emergency relief. She also brings back messages from the world beyond this one by offering each and every one of us inspiration and ideas for honoring our feelings and connecting to the divine. Joining me now is Monica Holy. And Monica, welcome back to the X Zone.
Hello, Rob. Thank you for having me back. It's been great.
Tell me, as an afterlife paramedic, do you wear a uniform? Do you carry a stethoscope? Do you drive in an ambulance? Or
No, it's just me laying myself down to sleep at night and drifting off into sleep and entering a lucid dream state, which means you are aware that you are dreaming. A lot of people, they're aware that they're flying. a lot of times as soon as they realize they're flying, they second-guess themselves and realize, wait a minute, I can't do that, and they usually crash to the ground. But my lucid dream state means that I'm aware of it, and for the most part, I can usually carry through with it. So it's a lot of fun playing in the sandbox on the other side.
Yeah, it must be one heck of an experience. But why do you call yourself an afterlife paramedic?
It's curious how that came about. I was telling a lot of my friends on exactly how it works, because they're always saying, well, what is it when you fall asleep? Like, what happens? What goes on? And I tried to explain it, and a lot of people make the assumption that, like a lot of other the media-known psychics, I can stand in a room and I can just see ghosts standing behind people. That's not the case with me. I do it all in my dream state. So I enter a dream state, but what happens is it's as if I'm a giant radio tuner, and I attract the frequency of lost or distressed souls. So they literally find me, not unlike the boy in The Sixth Sense, where they just show up at his bedside. The only difference being he's awake for it, I'm asleep through it.
All right, stand by. We've got to take a commercial break. Don't go away. Monica Holy is our special guest. www.thefringedweller.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. Don't go away. We'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute break.
I turned 18. We lived in a one-room run-down shack on the outskirts of New Orleans. We didn't have money for food or rent, to say the least. We were hard-pressed. Then Mama spent every last penny we had to buy me a dancing dress. Well, Mama washed and combed and curled my hair, and she painted my eyes and lips. Then I stepped into a satin dancing dress that had a split from the side, clean up to my hip. It was red.
Monica Holy is my guest this hour, www.thefringedweller.com. And I guess we should start off by asking you what a fringe dweller really is.
Well, it's interesting. A number of years ago, when the name first came to me in a dream, my spirit guides gave me that name, and they gave me this message that you are a fringe dweller, and you are a buffer between two worlds, and it's your job to transport people to death and to use your art as an introduction to the other side. And I woke up thinking, Fringe Dweller, wow, that's an interesting name. I really was not familiar with that name at all. And of course, years later, it's quite the buzzword now. So it might mean something completely different to anyone else. But I went with the name, and it seemed good. And I've noticed there's a lot of other people who are connecting with the experiences that I talk about. And they're writing into the website and sharing their experiences, which is fabulous, because I've always said I know I'm not the only one doing this.
So where does your artistic training and your artistic talent fit into the entire paranormal scenario?
Rob, I truly believe that everything that we do in our life definitely comes around and serves us in the best way possible. I had gone to art college in the Ontario College of Art, not far from you, and I went to 4 years of college there, and film and photography, and then I went on into the TV and film industry, and I started doing special effects in movies and commercials and things like that before CGI and put all of us artists out of a job. No, just kidding. It's actually transferred into quite a wonderful world of special effects. But now the good thing about being an artist is, first of all, not only can I go to the other side and I remember my dreams, but coming back, I can actually draw them and paint them and represent them. So it really, really fits, in well. The only challenge being is, how do I represent a 3 and 4 and possibly 5-dimensional experience back into a 2-dimensional experience, so that people, can try and fathom what exactly is going on. Now, there's the challenge. But having some artistic background, photography and all of that, it seems to fit in really well all together to put something together and actually get it on the website in color, which is great if anybody wants to see it in color, because in book, unfortunately, it's only in black and white, but there it is.
Tell me, do you think that people have the same dimensional dreams? For example, you were mentioning 3, 4, 5 dimensions. Do all people have go to the same dream place, or do different people go to different dream worlds?
I think it all depends. I think it's a very individual thing, because I've found for myself that stress does really play into it. A lot of people say they can't remember their dreams. A lot of people say they know they have experiences and they'd like to expand on it. And I found for myself that if my life is a little bit less chaotic, it's definitely more there. Now, I happen to dream in VistaVision, full color, even to the point of where I can smell in my dreams. And I know I'm not exactly sure how that fits in with science and quantum mechanics, and it's pretty tough to explain. It's quite a world unto its own. But I've always dreamt in color, and very, very experiential, where I can feel the molecules, so it seems, in my carnate body or ethereal body mixing almost. And do you ever see that cartoon with Mickey Mouse? Oh gosh, black and white, way back in, I guess it would be the Disney days, where through the looking glass, and he steps through the mirror, and he steps into this other world. It's a fantastic little cartoon, but it really represents well what happens when I enter my dream state. It's literally like stepping through this translucent mirror, and it's just another world on that side. And as my arm and as my leg, in a dreaming body, because that's what it looks like to me, passes through this translucent plane, so to speak, I can feel it like a laser just going through my body, and I can feel myself shift and either speed up or slow down. It's really quite the experience, and I think the more open you are to it, the more you'll actually experience. I know that if you try to dictate the experience and actually stop and say, wait a minute, what's going on? That can't really happen. The whole experience just falls apart, literally right at your feet, and then you wake up and it just all dissolves. So I think the more open you are and allowing that experience to happen, the more will occur and unfold for you. I mean, that's just been my experience, but that's what I'm thinking.
So it sounds as if as soon as reality sets in, this dream world just disappears.
It does. It really, really can. It's always a constant balancing of having this dream body experience and having what I call the passenger in the back seat. It's the logical mind. There are times when I'm in an experience and it's a benefit, and there are other times when it's not. Because when you're in your dream experience, I've been told, via reading books and talking to other mediums and other people, that really you should be able to do anything in your dream because it's a dream state. And that's true, but sometimes I find in my dreams I have to think logically to figure something out. It's just the natural way. We fall back on our logical mind. So a lot of times, wait a minute, you're underwater, but for myself, if I tell myself right away, wait a minute, you're underwater, but you're in a dream state, and that's okay, then it doesn't fall apart. Then I can kind of go with it. Very much like the movie, I love the movie The Matrix, when Neo first is told, jump to the other side of the other skyscraper building. And when I first saw this movie, I laughed because I thought, I know where this is going. He's going to get halfway across. He's going to realize what he's doing. He's going to doubt himself, and he's going to plummet. And that's exactly what happened. So I think, Rob, the difference is for that dream world not to necessarily fall apart as soon as you think of reality, is to be able to tell yourself, it's okay, it's a dream like sandbox, and it's okay to play along this way. I think that might be the thread that holds it together. You ever dream yourself, Rob?
Oh, yeah, I dream all the time, yeah. But I don't dream of dead people. I don't dream of communicating with dead people. I don't dream that there are 5 or 6 different dimensions, and I certainly don't dream about jumping from a tall building to another tall building. That's unless I'm in my Superman uniform chasing Supergirl. But tell me, how or why do dead people find you in your dreams, and why would they do that?
I didn't know in the beginning as to the why. I just know that they did. But the more I've read and the more I've had the experiences and reading quantum mechanics and different philosophies of thought, I read a wonderful book by David R. Hawkins called Power versus Force. And he goes into details about how all of our emotional states, our emotions, actually vibrate at a particular frequency. And the very traumatic ones, when we're in a huge state of anger or confusion or a loss, they're just a buzzing. They're just a really, really vibrating at a certain level. And it must be my lot in life, so to speak, that's where my radio tuner, where the dial is set. And I seem to attract these people who are vibrating on that frequency, especially women in distress, in trauma, and children, or families in general that have maybe been unfortunately in an accident or something. The only men I've ever really, really recall getting, I'd say for the most part, are those that disappeared in war and for one reason or another are still wandering out there, very much like the movie The Others. If anybody's ever seen that, I got that right away. That was very well done. I think it's just my lot in life, Rob. I don't know the why. I just know my dial is stuck there, and I've accepted it, and I think that's a big thing, is I've accepted it and chosen to go with it and be there to help in the best way that I can.
All right, so these people come to you in your dream and you help them go to the other side or to the light. Have you ever been able to validate the past existence of anyone that you've helped to the other side, that they are in fact or were in fact a living human being who has died?
I have with relatives, especially with relatives. It gets tough when there's, in the dream world, the way we think changes, and it's really tough to explain. People who've had the experience they get it, they understand it. It's not that it's telepathy or that it's sentences per se. When some spirit is talking to you, or a ghost, let's call them a ghost or somebody that's lost, it feels like they're talking, but what you're getting is the entire conversation, the entire message in your head instantaneously. It's there. And a lot of times what I get is a name, and it's almost the name they had when they were incarnate, so to speak, when they were living. For example, the painting that I did called The Flacker, which is on the front cover, her name was actually Debbie. That's what came through. Now, her I haven't been able to substantiate or validate, but there are times, especially with relatives, and it comes through and there's a name, I have been able to go up to the relatives concerned that are still living here, especially if there's a message for them, and have been able to tell them. Now, what's really curious, Rob, is a lot of these TV shows leave little bits and pieces out as well done as they are. I was talking to somebody, and what's very important is if, let's say, Bob comes to me in a dream, and it is a relative of mine, and they want to give a message to their father, per se, what they will say is very important. I need to repeat word for word what they say and not interpret it to what I think they're saying. That's when I know it's real, because I don't have a clue of what it is that they're trying to say. Maybe it's pink daisies on a purple hippopotamus, but when I say that to their father, you can tell from the father's expression that absolutely there is no other way that I would have known that.
Monica, stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour with the news. Exonation, Monica Holy's our guest, www.thefringedweller.com. She's the author of Fringe Dweller on the Night Shift, True Stories from an Afterlife Paramedic. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Combed and curled my hair, and she painted my eyes and lips. Then I stepped into a satin dancing dress that had a split from the side, clean up to my hip. It was red velvet trimming, and it fit me good. And standing back from the looking glass, there stood a woman where a half-grown kid had stood. She said, "Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down." She said, "Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down."
You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio,
Euro High Definition Radio,
and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035.
Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com.
On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com,
And our website,
www.xzoneradiotv.com. Monica Holy's our guest this hour, www.thefringedweller.com. Monica's the author of Fringe Dweller on the Night Shift, True Stories from an Afterlife Paramedic. Were you always a believer, or was there a time in your life when you were skeptical about the paranormal, the power of dreams, and those who've passed on to the other side?
You know, I've had these experiences ever since I can remember, even as a toddler. They were just there. It was as if it was a fifth limb that just was functioning completely. It wasn't until I started going to school and kids talked to each other and, what'd you do last night? You know, or what did you do yesterday? And talk comes around to dreams, and I realized very quickly from the look in my friends' eyes that they honestly could not connect with or relate to anything that I was saying, and in fact it scared them. And I realized, okay, I seem to be the only one having this experience, and then I started to some extent doubting myself. Is it real, or is it just me? And I continued to have the experiences, and the older I got and the more behavioral conditioning and environmental factors started setting in, I did actually, to a certain degree, start doubting, and I kept it to myself. I was afraid to speak out for what people would say, but you know, I think in my teens, when I started seeing things in the news, you were talking about validation earlier, Rob.
Yes.
What's really scary is when you have a dream and you don't know the name of a person, and it's very traumatic, and yet all the details are laid out in a newspaper article, and the hair just stands up on your neck, and you realize, oh my gosh, I was there. That really, really has a double-edged sword, because it creeps you out, but you realize, yeah, that's you. That's real. It really did happen, and you actually have to face it now. Tough thing.
When did you decide, or why did you decide to start painting your dreams?
It wasn't actually until I came out to BC about 5 years ago. I had a new lease and look on life. I had shut down a lot of my medium and psychic awareness for a long time, and it came back to bite me on the ass. And I had worked with a mentor, Carolyn Long, in Ontario, actually, and came to a place where I accepted my gift. And I remember sitting actually on a beach in Maine one time, and I just put it out to the universe saying, okay, what exactly is it I'm supposed to be doing in my life with all these bizarre, seemingly unrelated life experiences between, you know, an art career, a mom, you know, and this nightlife? And the answer that actually came back was that I was to do my artwork, get my dream experiences out there in a form of artwork, detachment from the outcome. And so I just started painting, and it wasn't until my, not then, but soon-to-be co-author, a friend of mine, said, you know, it would be a great vehicle to put them in a book and explain the stories behind these dreams, because they obviously need to be out there. And people were coming into my art studio really asking curious questions about the paintings. Some people related to them and wanted to express and share their experiences. Some, this was all new, but they were curious enough to ask. So I realized there was a need out there, and I wanted to share them to encourage people to open up about their experiences, and hopefully not be afraid or feel isolated in their experiences.
Tell me about the work that you've done with children, helping children get to the light or helping children to get to the other side.
That's a really, really tough gig, so to speak. My heart goes out to anybody out there who works in the paramedic state or anything police thing. With children, the reason my dial, of course, being stuck on this lost or distressed frequency, I get children who are literally lost. Let's say they've been in a car accident and the parents and the children have traumatically died. They're actually looking for their parents, and vice versa. The parents are looking for them. To me, it will occur in a labyrinth. I'm plopped into the middle of a movie already in progress. And hence the term paramedic. It's like being dropped into an emergency room that's ongoing, and you have to think quickly and best as to how to offer service. So with children, when they're in a labyrinth and it's obvious that they're trying to find their parents, I'll take their hand and I'll know who they're trying to connect with. And in some cases, they're not aware that they've passed on. And even as a child, many children, even in the waking reality, don't really understand death. They haven't had any experience with that. So in one case, I had the unfortunate business, but it turned out all right, where I led the boy through the hospital. This is all in my dream state, down to where, from his understanding, they keep the bodies. That's what was in his mind. He understood it at a very rudimentary level. And his mother was there. And as harsh as that may sound for a lot of people to say, why would you expose the boy to that? He actually wanted to go there. He understood that was the closure, and that was his way to find his mother. Now, she had passed on as well. So even though she was there, as soon as they were connected, she had been wanting to find him as well. They literally dissolved into a beautiful, twinkling, sparkling dust of light that just was so filled with love. Very much like the movie Ghost when Patrick Swayze disappears. It's very, very similar to that. And so I knew that even though it was a little bit traumatic to go through this, it ended well.
How do the children know how to find you? How do you know where to find them? Or do you meet in some common ground, one area of the dream world where those who are lost and those who can help meet each other?
Gosh, I just thought of something when you said that, Rob. It actually really connected. I've just now realized that most children actually find me in my house. A lot of them find me in my house. Now, I'm in my dream state, but they will show up on my back doorstep, and they'll be distraught, they'll be crying, and I'll simply, in my dream state, go down the stairs from my bedroom and go out and comfort them, let's say on the back stoop. And I find that as soon as I've comforted them, because they don't have a clue of what's going on necessarily, they're calm enough to vibrate at a different frequency that matches more what they need to cross over into the light. I think it's very instinctual that when I lay down to sleep and I'm in that limbo state, and I literally can hear a cry for help. And that cry for help literally sends my mind, my ethereal body into like a slipstream. And either the child shows up in my house, or I will actually be with that child in their state of distress wherever they are, because unfortunately a lot of it is before they actually pass over from life to death. So if they're in an accident, or if they're caught, let's say, in an earthquake or something like that, I'll be there with them. And in that case, even though they are still living, it's obvious that they can see me, and I know that perhaps death is imminent, and it's not always about being able to get the child out, but not leaving their side and simply being there, holding them in the best way I can, my ethereal body holding them. What they perceive, of course, I don't know. I just know that they recognize that there is someone, something there, and the most important thing is they're not alone, and that's huge. That's really, really huge. And, of course, it's very emotional for me because I go through their traumatic death with them. I see their life review. And as a mom, as a parent, as a human being, that is really hard to take when you wake up, because in some cases you were not able to help them stay alive, so to speak, and just simply had to be there as a witness and not leave them alone. And that's emotionally wear and tear on you, Rob. It's not easy.
I would imagine it is very hard on you. When
Yeah,
the children
go ahead,
pass,
sorry.
when the children pass to the other side, or when anyone passes to the other side, and they get to the other side, or to the light, or to whatever their religious beliefs are, who meets them?
You know, I've seen loved ones waiting there for them. I've seen other fringe dwellers. A quick example was I show up in the middle of a movie scenario where I'm in the shore of a harbor, and a mother is desperately trying to get my attention to help her. She can't seem to communicate the message with words, and all of a sudden she puts a piece of paper in my pocket, and in my dream state I'm able to look at it, and even though it's blank, I know she wants me to find her husband and her daughter. And next thing I know, I'm underwater in a capsized boat, and I know that I'm dreaming. I know that I can breathe underwater, but I also know that time is of the essence. Now, the curious thing about that experience is, as soon as I found the father, I found myself literally like a snap of a finger transported to another part of the boat, and I was able to find the daughter. They both had passed, and as soon as I found the daughter, all of a sudden, just like in any dream state, at just snap of a finger, it changes. I'm on the shore with the mother, with the father, with the child. They're all reunited. And that's all the three of them wanted. And then they disappeared. The mother gave me the most incredible hug in thanks. And then they disappeared and they were gone. So I've personally seen where family members is the biggest connection. And for whatever reason, if I don't see a family member necessarily, I'll see another fringe dweller like myself helping out. Or, I mean, when somebody says angels or guardians or overseers or caregivers, you've already said it, Rob, whatever somebody's religious belief or inclination is, I think that's usually the way that something will show up that they'll identify with. I mean, in my case, a lot of it is comic book characters and movie and TV characters, because I'm such a film and TV junkie as well. I think it's whatever you will, how you will understand the message, whatever's important to you. That's, I think, how it will show up. But otherwise, family members and definitely other fringe dwellers.
Let me ask you this. Has there ever come a time when you've said to yourself, is the dream state reality, or is what I call reality the dream state?
Oh, you know, Rob, that is such a pertinent question. I went through a period of my life where I just wanted to sleep more and more and more. Why? Because at that particular time in my life, the dream state had more color, had more warmth, had more love, had more reassurance, more comfort. It seemed more real to me than the waking reality. And it took a little while until I realized that's actually not necessarily a safe place to go psychologically, because I realized I was sleeping my days away, because it was more fun to be there as well, because there's a lot of good times on the other side. It's not all traumatic.
Sure.
And I realized, you know what, I need the balance. And that's when I started seeing a mentor. And I realized, of course, that the waking reality has just as much to offer, and that it's the balance.
Yes, it is.
The balance that's needed, yeah.
You know, you asked me a little while ago about my dreams and if I dream. And yes, I do. I dream within a dream within a dream within a dream.
Oh, that's spooky cool.
Yeah. And the only way, and to tell if I'm in a dream, I do something very simple. I look and try and read signs, newspapers, any print. If I cannot read it, I know I'm in a dream.
Oh, good for you.
See, I'm able to...
You can't read it. Okay.
That's right. So let's say I go to sleep tonight and I find myself in this part of a town. First thing that comes into my mind is, all right, let's establish whether this is a dream or not. I look for a newspaper stand, a bookstore, and if I come across one and I cannot read a sign, if I can't read traffic signs, if I can't read license plates or whatever, I know it's a dream, and then I can have fun.
See, now you actually lucid dream. The fact that you are aware that there's a need to look at the newspaper stand, to look at, you're actively already doing that right there. That's absolutely lucid dreaming. I mean, you're aware. And then once you find out you are dreaming, then you go for it. That's really interesting because it was only a little while ago, don't ask me why, after all this time, that I've only just heard, supposedly, and I have to look into it a bit more, I've heard that very thing that you just said, which is if you can't read it, it means that you're in a dream.
That's right.
And I was thinking about this, and I thought, okay, then I don't know necessarily where I fit in because I can read license plates. I can read street signs. So I don't know how that fits in. I'm grateful because, of course, when I wake up, I'll right away put the snippets that I can into my dream journal and do the best I can to record that.
Listen, Monica, you and I have to take our final break for this hour. Please stand by. Super talking to you. It's always a great pleasure having you join us here in the X Zone. X Zone Nation, Monica Hawley is our special guest. She is the author of Fringe Dweller on the Night Shift, True Stories of an Afterlife Paramedic, www.thefringedweller.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Love me so, my love. From the dark and lovely street to the bright side of the road. And into this life we're born.
I like dreaming, 'cause dreaming can make you mine. I like dreaming, closing my eyes and feeling fine. When the lights go down, I'm holding you so tight. Got you in my arms and it's paradise till the morning light. On the shore.
Monica Hawley's our very special guest, Exo Nation. She's the author of Fringe Dwellers on the Night Shift, True Stories from an Afterlife Paramedic. Her website is www.thefringedweller.com. When's your next book coming out?
I don't know about a next book. I haven't heard anything. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. But no, what I'm working on now is the book was such a huge workload to take on. It was a big project. What I'm going to do now is I'm currently bringing back my love of comic books and graphic novels, and I'm starting to storyboard my dream experiences, and I'm going to do my best to get them up on the website in shorter little synopses that hopefully people can look and read and visually either identify or resonate with or learn something. And who knows, I've been hearing from people that it would make a great TV show or film or movie or something, so who knows, maybe by storyboarding the early years of what it was like when I was a child might just be intriguing enough to have people come to the website and check it out, see what I have to offer.
Do you think everyone has the ability to work in the dream world as you do?
I do. I absolutely do. I think everybody dreams, but they may not be aware that they dream, or they may not remember that they dream. But my philosophy of thinking is, if I can do it, why shouldn't anybody be able to do it? I truly believe the potential to become more aware of it is definitely out there. But I believe on some state we are all connected via the human community in a grand scheme of things, whether we realize it or not. And I think in my mind, it brings us a lot closer. It really does.
Do you think that your ability and your experience as a psychic also plays a big part in your dream work?
I think so. It's. I don't think any life experience does not interconnect with itself in some way or form. Maybe I'm considered psychic or medium psychic as a result of having all these connections and being aware of it. You know, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I think there's a lot of people out there who are sensitive, and I think that's what it is. It's being sensitive and open to other things that may challenge what they previously thought was real. I mean, let's face it, until something happens, something new happens, we didn't know it existed. You know, so I think the potential is definitely out there.
Monica, as always, great having you on the show. Let our listeners know how they can find out about you and where they can get your book.
Thank you, Rob. It's always a pleasure talking to you. I encourage people to share their stories, their experiences with whether it's whoever they're comfortable with, their friends, their family members. If they'd like to check out the website, thefringedweller.com, I have a section on there called Ask the Fringe Dweller, where I invite people to share their experiences, or even ask a question. I'll do my best to answer to the best of my ability. What's wonderful is the more people share their experiences, I think the more other people realize that they're not so different, and hopefully they won't feel in fear to talk about it or the isolation of.
All right, and that's www.thefringedweller.com. Monica, thanks very much. Great talking to you. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Rob. It's been a pleasure.
I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past as we continue here in the X Zone.